A wild ocean teeming with life, the sun in the sky and a crazy dog for company.
Rubes.
Just another day at the office.
This is the coast of Connemara in the west of Ireland.
Some of the largest animals on the planet migrate through these waters.
That was moderately close.
And on land, the people are a special breed too.
That's much use of me. For the next 6 months, I'm going back to my roots as a marine biologist, working for an Irish whale and dolphin conservation group.
So you don't want to burst the intestines because it gets very messy then.
Yeah.
It's the chance of a lifetime to discover more about the extraordinary animals swimming off our shores.
And it's great fun. Did I mention it was great fun? Fantastic!
This week, my mission is to hunt down basking sharks, true monsters of the deep.
I seriously thought he was going to eat me.
And the wildlife attacks just go on and on.
One of the slight downsides of swimming with Rubes is he just wants to rescue me. And then every now and then, he catches me attacked by my own dog. An inevitable part of my job here for the 6 months is going to be ranging up and down the west coast. So I do lots of road trips basically, just bolting the rib on the back and heading off. And this one's down to see Simon in Kilrush.
Simon's my boss at the Irish Whale and Dolphin Group, and he wants me to find out as much as I can about a monster fish that visits this coast.
We don't know much about dolphins. We know absolutely nothing about basking sharks. You know, simple stuff. I mean, even the physiology, the gestation period, all this kind of stuff.
Basking sharks are massive. The biggest one ever recorded was longer than a double-decker bus, and all from a diet of microscopic plankton. They appear off our shores every summer, but we've very little idea where they go for the rest of the time.
Is the basking shark in trouble? Is it endangered?
It's vulnerable according to CITES. It was hunted extensively. Its populations are thought to be depleted because of that. And the geneticists tell us the population could be as less as 20,000 individuals in the whole world, you know,
wow.
Which I find hard to believe.
Yeah.
But in Ireland, we've actually, the last 2 or 3 years, we've reported an increase in sightings.
Yeah.
So is that because there's more on the surface? Is there more here? What's going on? I've dug out some shark tags for you, long last. These are tags we had made for us last year for the Basking Shark Project. I had these made, a similar type made for me in 1993 when I tried to start tagging sharks, and I failed miserably. And it took me 15 years before I got a tag out. And that was only 2008.
That's amazing. The first ever basking sharks tagged here was just 2 years ago.
And after 15 years of trying to do it.
Yeah.
If it took Simon 15 years to tag his first basker, what hope for me in one summer?
Subtlety doesn't work. Go straight in, bang it in. Yeah. And most of the time a shark, it might kind of flinch because it's shocked with the boat. I don't think it feels the tag going in.
No, I agree.
And occasionally, you know, there's a big smack of the tail and a big cloud of water comes over you.
The tags are a simple way of tracking where the basking sharks travel in the oceans. But last year, Simon stumbled on a much more sophisticated research technique.
It was when we tagged one shark, it kind of banged off the side of the boat with its tail fin. We were back at Malin Head Harbour at the end of the day, and I saw this black slime on the front of the boat. I remembered when I was out fishing with gill netters that they'd say that they know when a shark has bust their net because it's covered in slime. So I was thinking, oh, it must have been from the shark. So I scraped it off, put it in a tube, sent it to the geneticists, and said, see if you can get DNA from that. And they could, which was fantastic because there was literally, up to last year before we started sliming, there was less than 100 samples of basking sharks for genetics in the world. It's mad, isn't it? We're the only shark slime samplers on the planet. Welcome to the world of shark sliming.
I am 25% of the shark slime samplers on the planet.
As you said, harder to say, easier to do.
Well, that's brilliant, Simon. Thank you so much. This is the kit required for smearing a basking shark. An alarming concept, I'm sure you agree. The whole idea is that these are pan scourers, obviously, and the slime will be held in the little cells of this pad, this scouring pad. And in the slime is the genetic makeup of that animal. So its populations, its history, it's all in the slime. And then I'll freeze that and get it to the Galway Institute. Stage 1, remove the head of your mop. This idea just kind of came to me when I went past a hardware store. And Simon, of course, Simon advised me as well that scouring pads are the ideal thing. Stage 2 is fix your scouring pad. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fix 2. Don't for a moment make the mistake of thinking I know what I'm doing. This is all new stuff. Now that'll do. Literally just needs to be brushed along the back of the animal. Stage 3 is going to find a basking shark. I need to sample baskets, hopefully, and to do so I've got to get really close to them. I've got to rub the old pan scrubber thing on them, and so I want to practice doing that, and the best way to do it is from the kayak, the sea kayak. You get really close to animals from a sea kayak because you're low and you're quiet and you don't alarm them. But I need to practice on a large marine organism just to give it a go and see if I can actually, and that noise you can hear in the background is the large marine organism I'm going to try it out on. An afternoon alive with possibilities. Perfect. A perfect sample. I've had a little settling in period now, and a good old chat to Simon, and I've got a very good idea of what I need to do here. So what I need to do now is just get out there and get on with it. Simon knows actually quite little about this region because relatively little information has been gathered. I think I've got a sneaky suspicion that Connemara is one of the richest places in Europe for big animals in the sea. And I'm going to make it my mission over the next few months to prove that that's an absolute fact. Look at that.
We certainly know there were so many basking sharks in the past that hunting them was a way of life.
Basking shark fisheries extracted a terrible toll on the basking shark. It's estimated about 100,000 were taken in Norway and in Scotland and in Ireland. And the last one to shut in Ireland was Achill Island. These huge sea cliffs, highest sea cliffs in Europe, which is interesting in terms of the baskers because they tend to like areas like that. They like these big drop-offs and where the big currents come up against something hard like a big cliff because you get nutrients there and lots of currents. Nice bridge. And I'm just heading down there now to actually meet someone who was involved in the basking shark fishery and just find out a little bit more about it and what it was like to hunt these massive, massive animals in the sea.
Michael Gilty's taking me to Keene Bay, where the hunts used to happen.
Is it left,
take it
right?
right here.
Take it right
here.
No problem. Wow,
It's
that
lovely.
is really
That
something.
lovely inlet. that's
Really
it,
something.
I come back here nearly every day if possible and maybe read the paper, just have a look.
Oh, lovely.
And it's nicest of all when you're on your own.
Yeah.
When you're the only one there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ah, yeah.
Well, what a spot. Got a very excited dog in the back. He likes his beaches. Oh, yeah.
Michael and his mates would have headed out to the Atlantic waters on the traditional currach boat. Its Gaelic meaning is unstable, and it's well named.
The biggest danger was being sort of thrown out of the curragh.
And could you swim then? Were you a good swimmer?
No,
No.
couldn't swim.
Good grief.
And of the, how many men would have been fishing here? Probably up to 40. And I'd say there was maybe a third of them swimmers.
Really?
Many of the old-time fishermen never learned to swim because they believed if their fate was to drown, then so be it.
And how were the sharks caught?
The sharks were coming out from left to right. We went along and we put irons or chains or whatever in the rock hold the net, and we shot the net across from right to left.
The net was across the sort of end of the bay there.
And then at the end of the net, we had a small stone, maybe about a pound weight, to hold the net in position.
Right.
And then the shark came along and he'd go into the middle of the net. And the shore was tight, the shore rope was tight, but the other one, as he was going along, it was moving in behind him. Yeah. So here we were here in the curragh. The spearsman was this side. So this man's job was to hold the net across the stern of the curragh, and here we were here harpooning the shark. And if you didn't have patience, if you didn't get him right with the first shot, he'd play hell. Yeah. It'd take you maybe 15, 20 minutes to get him.
It was only the shark's liver they were after, the oil of which lit the street lamps of Ireland. The carcasses were left to rot on the seabed.
When you look back on it, how do you feel about killing the sharks now? Is it?
Oh, I'm dead sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
To us, it was. You got to work for 3 months of the year at home.
Yeah.
You know, most of the lads would come back from England for the shark fishing.
Yeah.
And have the 3 months at home with their wives and family. You know, the poor fellas, they're doing no one any harm and they only live on plankton and But you see, when we fished way back in the 50s, we never thought fish would get scarce. We always thought there was plenty there for and there was then with our type of fishing, picture when the bigger fellas came along.
Michael, everyone talks to me about the slime, the black
slime.
Yeah. Can you tell me anything about that?
What the hell? I'm trying to think of this. There's a certain time of year the slime when they were mating.
Right.
That was the most time we got the slime, and when you get it on the nets.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
It's a beautiful, tranquil spot behind me, but it was a scene of carnage and chaos and drama in the 50s when Michael was doing his fishing. And Michael's just said some really interesting things to me about the slime. If there was slime on one of the nets, other sharks would be drawn towards that slime. Who knows? It's all speculation. So the great thing about these animals and about working here this summer is that it's so much of it's speculation and uncharted territory, which is an amazing thing when you consider this is one of the giants of the ocean that visits our shore every year at the same time.
While I'm here, I thought it'd be nice to have some homegrown food.
The veggies have been growing fantastically well. I've surprised myself, and they're getting too big for their boxes. Now, the plan is to have kind of hillocks of soil running right the way down the hill. I've got long enough here to actually grow a few veg and really start learning about the shore here and start getting the food from the shore and the sea. And by the end, hopefully, be kind of self-sufficient. You know, be getting a lot of my food from here and from out there. There we go. I'm gonna have to build a fence around this as well, because the one thing we do have here in abundance is hares. Hares are very rare, or increasingly rare in Britain, and the reason is that they're all over here. There's some net down there, some old fishing net, which I'll make a fence with. Get some driftwood, some fishing net. I mean, come on, start with a bit of a fence. It's a sort of hair-shaped hole, isn't it? That's good. I come out in the morning and find hundreds of hares caught in the net. Or rubes. I'll find rubes. Struggling in the net. Come on. Perfect. Pull it tight. All this fence has got to do is keep some hares out. It's a hairnet. Now I'm planting quite late, so I've abandoned my plans to do bananas, avocado and coffee, and instead I'm doing things like the salad. Any digging needs to be closely supervised. It's not a bad day's work. That's not a bad day's work, is it? Oh, God. I've realised why I don't garden now. It's absolutely shattering. Right, Rubes, be aware of the terrible implications of you pogoing all over my new vegetable patch. I've slaved all afternoon to create. I'm serious. This is serious horticulture. Rubes! This isn't helping, is it? Rubes! Does anyone else's dog do this? Oi! Not on the fence, you Burke. The reefs just off my front door, out of my front door. You walk 150 yards and you've got amazing reefs. And they're sort of pushing into white sand, areas of white sand. And it's perfect crab and lobster country.
I'm hoping to catch a few fish while I'm here, and the reefs are teeming with crabs and lobsters.
Just going to put out the first of my pots. So Martin's going to come out with me and show me where to put them. Ideally somewhere that isn't going to get me beaten up in the pub.
Yeah.
Martin O'Malley is a fisherman and powerboat instructor who's keeping me right while I learn the local waters.
Well, I'd say close to your house,
Yeah.
that kind of area.
Yeah. So you say right along the edge?
Yeah. If we base it up first, maybe.
Ah, yes.
Is this the...
Yeah, those are the fish. We thought brown trout would work well.
Oh, yeah. Bit of salmon.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Well, they are trout. You're joking. Oh, I know where that's from. Now, I should point out, by the way, there's a local girl who's helping me out. And because I was charging around this morning, putting the boat in, I said, oh, can you nip off and get some fish from the fishmonger? And she very kindly did. She's come back with smoked herring, I think it is, which is very nice. So my creels will be very distinctive along these coasts.
What's that? Is it herring?
I think it's smoked herring, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is delicious.
It is, yeah. It's a shame to see it gone in the pot.
Yeah, it'll probably last about a minute and a half in the pot as well, I think.
Big ugly crab hanging out of it.
Gorgeous. Why go through all the rigmarole of catching a crab when you can just eat the bait? That's my theory.
Okay, is that one baited?
That one's baited, yeah. Just here.
Yeah.
And we'll do one more. I shall be fascinated to see what we catch.
Usually they're left 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
You can haul them every day if you want, but
Yeah.
the chances aren't nearly as good.
Oh, I think I'll give it a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because the other thing I'm worried about is because it's smoked fish, it'll probably degrade.
Easier, yeah.
Yeah.
Quicker.
So.
Yeah, you're better off giving it a couple, 2,
Yeah.
3 days.
No problem. One of the key things to do over the course of the next few weeks, or indeed the next few days, is to get posters up in Clifton, just generally all around Connemara, to try and get people to give me a call when they sight a big animal in the sea. No one's better than the local fishermen at doing this, or the local divers, or the people who get out regularly on the sea, the guys who run the ferries. That is what the fuss is all about. There we are, the second largest fish in the sea. It's filter feeding. It's worth getting excited about, I think, something like that. So I'll stick that on the poster and catch people's eye, hopefully, and catch their attention, and give them a big old number to phone, and just wait for the phone to ring. Even if you don't get out there yourself, you can still record the sighting. You can still say, right, that someone said they saw a basking shark in this location. Then you build up a pattern of the movement of the animals around the coast. This is the extremely appropriately named Bog Road on a bleak day. So we're really honking this mizzle coming in from the Atlantic. But what it does mean is it's a bit blowy, so all the boats are tied up alongside. And it's a great opportunity to go and give the posters to fishermen, to hotels, to pubs. I'm meeting someone called John Britton, and he's with the Aran in Clifton. So he is a good man to ask about basking sharks, I think. Hello, John. How are you? The traditional we against that. I'll do that in a moment. It's like, yeah. Ropes, come here.
Come in and have a look at the station.
Yes.
This is the station we keep the ILB1 in.
Right. I always think anywhere I ever operate on, you know, tagging programs or anything like that, it's always worth sticking your head around the RNLI place and just sort of saying hello and
seeing what's in there.
And seeing
in
what's
case you
in
need
there.
it. Yeah.
Could I give you a couple of posters? It's a number for people to call if they happen to see a basker or whatever.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen any recently except for the bottlenose dolphins.
Yeah.
Are you going to try and tag these?
Yes. Yeah. Because you do the blue shark tagging.
I do the sharks. So that's very basic form of tagging. It's just a plastic tag with a number on it and an address. Send it back to the fisheries board in Ireland if you find this.
Yeah.
The best one I had was the recapture was down off the Cape Verde Islands, which I think is about 3,500 miles from here.
Yeah. All right, John. Well, I'm going to keep charging around and dishing these out.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'll ring you if I see one.
Yeah. Well, please do.
Yeah.
That'll be fantastic.
Well, indeed. Yeah.
I was just wondering, I've got some posters. I was just wondering if I could give you a couple, perhaps, to put up. No problem. That'd be fantastic, thank you. I was just wondering if I could put up a couple of posters. That's very kind, thanks. Horrible homemade affairs, but just if anyone you know who might see a basking shark. Was it a big one? Yeah? Fantastic. Go in for a quiet beer and you come out at 1:45. But really, really good evening, and the lads are really up for it, as is so often the case. Fishermen in places like Roundstone are very hooked into the local environment and very interested in the animals they're seeing and trying to help out in understanding them a little bit more. So really promising that, and great evening. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Chatting to a lot of the guys in Connemara, they say that one place that's very good for basking sharks is the Aran Islands. So I brought the rib down. It's my first visit to the Aran Islands, this mythical set of islands. And I'm just going to have a little cruise along the cliffs. That's the Aran's Basking Shark Central. The Arans are 3 remote islands in the Atlantic. Inishmore is Big Island, Inishman is Middle Island, and Inisheer is East Island. Whoa, look at that. I'm going to take a trip round to the cliffs on the western shore of the main island. That's apparently where all the baskers are seen. The problem I've got is seeing a basker in this is going to be really, really tricky. This is the western side of Inishmore, the largest of the Aran Islands. If you look at these cliffs, they just face, they're a buttress between the islands and the open Atlantic. We talk about Fortress Europe. Well, these are the castle walls. And they've been sculpted and shaped over eons of time into these really rugged caves and cliffs. Really beautiful, really beautiful. And a fitting setting for something like a basking shark or a minke whale or a humpback. You know, fairly regular visitors to these waters. Now let's see. Something going on ahead of me here with the birds. Lots of birds feeding, lots of activity. All this will be going on above the surface. You can guarantee there'll be something going on underneath as well. But of course it's trying to figure out what it is. The waves look intimidatingly massive through my binoculars.
The basking sharks are here somewhere. But I'm beginning to worry it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. All I can do is keep hoping and patrolling.
I'm trying to find a pinnacle, it's an undersea pinnacle. Great places for fishing. I marked it when I was out here on patrol one day. Here we go, there it is. You can see, it comes from about 70 feet of water up to about 40 feet. Looks exciting. It's an underwater volcano spewing out fish. I'm convinced this should be very happy hunting grounds. Just seen this massive reef underneath me. Oh, now that. Whew. Yeah, beautiful pollock. Look at that. These guys are so successful down there. They're the wolves of the reef. Probably the most successful reef predator in Britain. All right, a pollock, really nice looking fish. I'll keep this guy and stick him in my creels, and then hopefully he'll bring in some crabs and lobsters. I'm not optimistic about the creels, partly because they're baited with trout and smoked herring. I do want to get a bit more serious about all this and start really trying to provide myself with some good food. Nothing in it, it's absolutely empty, so I'm going to rebait it. I've sort of been playing at it up to this point, but it'd be nice to start feeding myself. Check the other ones. And actually getting reasonably self-sufficient. Now, I'm obviously never going to be totally self-sufficient. There's things like milk and stuff I have to buy, but just a level of self-sufficiency would be splendid. Well, there we go. They're out fishing for me now. And with any luck, get a couple of crabs, maybe even a lobster or two. And I'll get some people round when I've smoked some fish as well and have a really nice get together. Big old cook up. Need to get in now. The wind's sprung up so much, it's unbelievable.
A big part of my job is responding to calls about whales and dolphins that have been washed ashore, dead or alive. Often there's nothing there by the time I arrive, but I have to check out every report.
I've towed my rib 3,000 miles up and down the coast of Ireland, chasing shadows. But I'm just off to Cleggan to meet up with Martin O'Malley, John Britton. These are great guys to get out on the boat with. A huge well of local knowledge. And the first problem they can sort out with that knowledge is the fact that the rib has just bounced on the trailer and is leaning drunkenly at a very worrying angle, and it always ends up rubbing against the metal of the trailer, which is not very good for ribs. Because if I lose the rib, I'm stuffed. You know, I can't get out on the water, I can't do the photo IDs, I can't do the tagging, and all this towing is really tearing the thing apart. It's tearing me apart as well, I'm knackered. I want a cappuccino and a sofa and a flat screen. That's all I want. And my mum.
John and Martin already feel like old mates, ready to help out whenever I call.
We were adjusting the boat.
Well, we were. I was sort of...
Round here, that means the boat fell off the trailer.
Yes, I was sort of inadvertently adjusting the boat. The road was adjusting the boat. The problem is that, you know where the rubber nose wheel is that on the trailer that you put the bow on, it's bounced and was rubbing on the thing. So I was just wondering if you could have a quick look at the hull for me and just see if... I'll show you, it was just here, and I'll just lift it.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything on that side, is there? Just a little...
Oh, yeah, on this side it seems to be. Here we go, look.
On both sides.
Oh, it's on both sides.
Yeah.
It's funny, you do more damage to boats trailering them around, don't you?
It's very difficult to get that a nice finish on it, Monty.
Yeah.
Somebody else will do that.
Okay, around the other side. Great stuff. Look at that. You can barely notice the repair.
No, I mean, other than it's a different colour, you wouldn't be able to see it.
Well, I'll probably hang on to this because I suspect I'll be using it again. There we go. I think the plan will be to get the old girl in for a bit of TLC because she's been battered over the last few weeks. Come on then, Roots. Now, although it's Beautiful, beautiful day. I do feel a slight sense of frustration. It's nice to be doing this, but even though it's kind of a day off, I would be out there like a shot, patrolling for whales and dolphins and baskers. But sadly, my rib is temporarily out of service because it's been knocked about so much over the last couple of months. But hopefully I'll pick it up again pretty soon and we can get back out there, because look at that. This is the optimum sort of conditions for looking for these animals, because it's flat, calm, you see the ripples a long way off, you see the sun glinting off dorsal fins. It's just perfect, you know, and I'm off collecting winkles. Oh, this is great. Get a few of these winkles. Oh, Rubes. I should be out tagging 5-ton sharks. Okay, this is the winkle, Littorina spur, and they have a very interesting sex life, these animals. They change sex sometimes, and they have this thing of the male winkle's winkle dropping off, which is alarming in the extreme, I imagine, and then grows back next year. And they got this operculum here. Basically, it's a trap door they shut when the tide goes out, and it means they stay nice and moist and safe inside. But there we are, we can see this guy's coming out because it's high tide, so he's been very active. So there we are, he's just popped his head out. And that's the part I'm going to eat. Now, I was going to go for a swim. The water is about 14 degrees. Fancy that, Rubes? Fancy a swim? One of the slight downsides of swimming with Rubes is he just wants to rescue me. He just wants me to get me out of the water, you know? And he does it by trying to grab me with his claws and pull me around, and every now and then he catches me a good one. He caught me an absolute humdinger there. Attacked by my own dog. Great, isn't it? I go foraging for a few winkles and I come back cold, wet and bleeding. Tiny little bit of lettuce here. Assuming Rubes doesn't try and rescue me. Gonna be a feast fit for a king, this, isn't it? Come on, Rubes, you big bully. A lovely way to cook these is white wine and herbs. Unfortunately, I haven't got any white wine, so I'm just going to put a bit of water, a bit of vinegar, and a few of the herbs from the garden, and lemon, pepper. I am the Blumenthal of Connemara. Interestingly, when they used to cook shellfish on the coast here, back in the mists of time, I'm talking a long time ago, they didn't have cooking pots that could withstand fire. So what they'd do is put stones in a fire and then make a depression in the earth and put water in the depression and then put the stones in. So an awful lot of places you walk around here have blackened stones. And then if you look nearby, wherever there's a load of blackened stones, you'll invariably find a bunch of old shells. You know, shells that are hundreds and hundreds of years old. I've got any tomatoes in there. These are tomatoes from the supermarket down the road, but with any luck, I'll have my own tomatoes by the end of the summer. Smells all right. That's what the fuss is all about. There we go. Honestly, that was really nice. Quite a delicate flavour, actually. It's not a sort of, I was expecting a really strong flavour, and it's not at all. That is really, really nice. Great food and great fun. It's a good combo.
The boat's still out of action, but I need to check my lobster creels.
So I'm going to go out in the kayak and be rather clever and try and tie a rope around the buoy, which is just there, and with any luck be able to tow that in and stand on the rock and haul the creel in. And there's another one up here somewhere. So it's going to be, watch this space. This could be quite fun. Well, I started about an hour and a half ago. Finally, we've made it ashore. But I got a little glance at the creel, and it's been opened, which is quite interesting because it's either a local fisherman who's not happy that my creels are out here. You know, asked everyone in the village and got permission and borrowed these creels from a local fisherman. Or, believe it or not, it could be an otter. Otters have learned how to open these creels. And mine are in shallow water. There's definitely otters around here. I've seen spraints, I've seen bits of old crab claws. So the otter has got the better of me this time. I hope it's an otter and not a local person, because I'd be mortified if a local guy was upset that I was fishing here. So somewhere on a rock, behind a rock somewhere, there's an otter having a good laugh. There we are. One open creel. So, not good. Not good. I've got one more I'm going to go check just to see if that's been opened as well. And if that's the case, I'll go to the pub and just have a chat and make sure there isn't anyone who's upset. And if it's a small guy, I'll have it out with him. If it's a big guy, I'll buy him a beer and apologise. Don't go away. There's something in my creel. This is a spider crab, Maya squinado, which means May and angles. May, because they appear in May, they have mating aggregations in May and they come to shallow water to breed. And these guys camouflage themselves. They put bits of seaweed and whatever, they stick them onto themselves. Like a soldier, you know, with a helmet with all the stuff stuffed in it. And there's beautiful colour underneath. They're not really nippers. They've got this wonderful armoured shell with all these points on. And that's a really small one. I could put that on a cracker, possibly. But I'm not. I'm going to put him back. And I'll go and have a cheese sandwich. Lifting that second one was really important because I was really worried that, you know, maybe, as I said, some local was upset or whatever that I was using the pots here. And the fact that the pot was shut and had this crab in it is a good sign. So I'm really happy about that. And I think that the other one might have been an otter. There's so much otter activity along here, and the otters definitely open creels. The locals were telling me about it. So there we go. I'll pop him back. Right, chap. Off you go. They're a lot bigger. See you next May. I don't rude, you get squashed. If you look at this, that's a spider crab shell that's been probably, Rubes is helping. That's a spider crab shell that has probably been eaten by an otter. You can see it's a bit smashed up. And I find a lot of them as I walk the dog along here in the morning. I find a lot of these. And I'm absolutely confident there's an otter working this little stretch. So obviously I'll have a look for him later on. But it does add to my little theory that maybe the pot was opened by an otter. So there we go. Evidence. Exhibit A. My association with places like this, wild places, where the mountains hit the sea and there's locks and bays and inlets and incredible wildlife, started with one animal. It started with an animal I was fascinated with as a kid. And I've got an opportunity to meet that animal now in a pretty unique environment and get closer to it than I think I probably ever will for the rest of my life.
Hi there.
Judy and Clive Lawrence run an animal sanctuary in Letterfrack, 20 miles from my cottage. And the latest arrival is an orphan otter.
Hello, young lady. You can see this close up. This is obviously the closest I've ever been to an otter. And this animal is the animal that drew me to the west coast of Scotland originally, because of the works of Gavin Maxwell. And he raised the otters Midge and Edal. And he spoke of the fact that you could kind of domesticate an otter, but it would always be a wild animal. And you can just see by the look in the otter's eye here that...
Do you want to give her a prawn now?
Oh, yes, please. Might have one myself. Here you go, young lady. The teeth are obviously fearsomely sharp, and Maxwell wrote of having his hand bit once, and the teeth actually met through his hand. So it's a top predator. It's not an animal to be messed with. And the whole thing Judy and Clive are trying to do here is gradually distance themselves from the otter so the otter can be released.
Probably mind your fingers.
I'm very much minding my fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's just the slight whiff of Reuben. I'm assuming it's the slight whiff of Reuben. It might be me. If ever my trousers prove their worth, it's having... Oh, there we go. Look at that. The other thing you notice straight away being this close is the design. You can see this is an animal designed to move through water. Very sinuous, almost eel-like. And that flat head and very bright, very intelligent eyes. Again, Maxwell always talked to this. It's really intelligent. This is a magical moment for me to be. It's an animal I've seen in the distance. It's assumed almost mystical proportions for me, the otter. And to be this close to one is unbelievable.
She needs at least 20% of her body weight per day in food. So that's a kilo of food she needs.
So you can imagine in the wild, you know, that's
a lot of
a
food.
ferocious rate of predation, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
But they're burning up their food so quickly.
Yeah. Right, could be time for me to leave, I think.
Right, Monty, ready?
I'm there.
Go.
With bruised ankles.
Relief to get out.
That was amazing. Amazing. Look at that. She's enjoying that.
An amazing experience. And it didn't disappoint me at all. It's sort of like meeting a superstar, you know, it's like meeting someone you've always wanted to meet. And often that can be quite a crushing experience. And I'd always wanted to get that close to an otter and just see what made this animal so special. And it's a ball of energy. It's like bottling lightning meeting an otter. And real intelligence and amazing athleticism, and seeing it so close the way it moved in the water. It's just absolutely beautiful. Just had a very excited and very exciting phone call. The excited part was a guy standing on a headland telling me he was looking at 24 basking sharks. What would you call that? A fleet. There's not a shoal, it'd be a fleet of basking sharks. The only slight snag is that it's Malin Head that he was standing on, which is the very northernmost tip of Ireland. But the exciting part for me is obviously this is an opportunity to tag and possibly get in the water with a large number of huge marine animals. And the guy I'm meeting here is a guy called Emmett, and Emmett is the one who made the call and said he could see all the baskers. And he's a man who should know because he's the local wildlife ranger.
Just sit place down here, so.
No problem.
Emmett Johnston has worked in Malin Head for the past 6 years.
Basically, once you get up past that headland up there,
Yeah.
you're into shark country.
Right, excellent. So it's flat calm, oily calm. Conditions are perfect. Emmett's saying they've been seen all day. 7 o'clock at night now, so we've got about an hour maybe to have a little look around.
An hour ago.
You're talking about the sort of dark.
Yeah, just there. Yeah, there was a little black.
Just below the horizon.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm making the classic mistake of staring fixedly at exactly where you're staring.
No,
Which
yeah,
probably isn't the
yeah.
most efficient way of searching, is it?
No, well, they're up and down. Obviously, they're not staying on the surface at the
Yeah.
moment. So,
I just saw something about 150 metres off the boat.
yeah,
in
even
that
just
direction.
knock her back if you just want to sit.
Yeah.
And something definitely out there. See that? See there?
Yeah,
There, that's
oh,
a fin.
shark.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there she is. There she is. 100% that is a basking shark. That little glimpse of fin makes the whole 6-hour drive, getting the boat in, worthwhile.
Tag number 74, 55, 1829 north,
You can see why it's a site that's sort of raised people's emotions.
73295 west.
Right.
Time is 20 past 7. Just go in for it, like just don't go too fast. Bring him around. Knock her back, knock her back.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't go in. No, no, it's all right. They're out here anyway, you know, so we're saying that was nice to see the nose up there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it was right out of the
Obviously
water, wasn't it? Just there, just there.
Okay.
There's one in front of you as well. There's one closer, there's one closer. Whoa, 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 there's one just there. Right, this is my last go and then you're up. Just sit there, let him come.
Yeah.
Go in, go in. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Yes, tag. Well done, well done. First one.
My debut tag. My debut tag.
Tag 07 at 551807.
For the power of that animal. You know, you took a 4 metre shark, 5 metre shark, you're probably talking a couple of tons, 2.5, 3 tons maybe. And it gave the boat a clunk as it disappeared. And the whole boat, you could feel just shook in the water. But that's great, that's another tag deployed. And the information from that tag, if it's recited, will be invaluable to tell the movements of that shark and indeed the movements of the whole species off the coast of Ireland. So, great stuff.
Right, this one's for you. Right behind you, too.
Oh, fantastic, yeah, he's a beast. Who could possibly miss an animal like that? This is probably the most exciting moment of my entire miserable life.
Too fast for you.
Yeah, I didn't even see it.
Sorry, I'm too fast for you. Just there on your right hand side.
Got him.
He's gone down, is he?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right, we'll get a balance between the two of them. You've got to just give it a little bit of throttle and just kind of boost him before he can kind of go down.
This is it, this is the one. I've got a good feeling about this.
It's got your name on it.
It's actually good to see them high out of the water and see the nose, because that means they're feeding. While they're feeding, they're preoccupied, and while they're preoccupied, we can get the tag in them. Okay?
Oh. You okay? They go in?
There we are. Got him. The most clumsy, ham-fisted attempt, the poor animal. But it definitely went in. I saw the tag go in. Hopefully it stayed in. Fantastic. And he gave the boat a big old clunk as he disappeared as well. Great. My first ever tag. I'm going to go and get drunk. That was fantastic.
Sorry, I should have knocked you into neutral.
Oh no, no worries.
I wanted to be sure that we were.
Yeah, spot on. Thanks,
we
mate.
were right
Well done.
on 'em.
Well done. Morning after the day before, and it's 6:45 in the morning after. the day before, so nice and early, but just a phenomenal day yesterday.
Were we here yesterday?
Yeah, that's right.
Today we'll probably work the sharks a bit slower, like we'll go
Yeah.
in and maybe make sure we get our photographs on both
Yeah.
sides of the fins.
Yeah.
And then we'll maybe get a slime sample, and
Yeah.
then we'll go for the tag then as the last thing.
Great.
You know, so
Great.
we'll kind of build up a little portfolio of
Yeah,
each shark,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
identity of
Yes,
them.
absolutely. Right.
Shark.
Oh, well spotted, well spotted. Emmett has this near supernatural ability to spot that much of a basking shark popping up a mile and a half away.
There's only two of them.
Oh God, there's 3. 1, 2, 3. That moving in circles thing, it's a feeding thing. You know, he's coming back on himself. It's like he's swimming in a bowl of soup, a small bowl of soup, and so he's turning all the time. And you can just see his nose. That means he's got that massive mouth open. It's called ram filter feeding, this. So he's pushing his body through the surface, mouth's open, and a huge amount of water's washing over his gill rakers, and the gill rakers are sieving out the food.
Man, see how easy you could have tagged him?
Yeah. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sharks that I can see in the area of a football pitch.
Seems to be going down, coming up, so it's hard to tell, isn't it? I mean,
Oh,
there is
yeah.
at any one time.
Well, fishermen everywhere always say, don't they, for every one on the surface, there's at least 2 underneath.
Yeah.
So we're sitting over the top of considerable tonnage of animals at the moment.
Pick a beast then.
I think he wants to be tagged, this one.
Yeah.
He's swimming right towards us, isn't he?
Okay. Too fast, I think. Get him?
Bang on, bang on. Only a fool could have missed. My whole vision was just full of basking shark. So fantastic, that was seamless.
Yeah, I noticed the tail.
See him? In fact, there's 3.
Is there 3?
Yeah, it is 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Look at that, right in a really tight group. They must almost be touching. There's so many mysteries surrounding this animal. There's far more questions than answers.
Just knock her back.
Amazing, by the way. So it's like having dinosaurs around the boat. I could slime him. But there we are, just right here. Well, I kind of scraped it down his back. Yes. So this is the slime, but the information that can be got from that potentially is absolutely massive. And it's a bit like a memory stick, that slime. And what we've got to do is somehow plug it in and decipher it and get the information out of it, because in there is potentially the lineage of these animals, of that particular animal. And this slime, it's like a book. And if we can figure out how to read that book, suddenly the story will reveal itself. So I'm going to put it in a placky bag and send it off to the labs at Galway Marine Institute, and hopefully they can decipher it, and we'll find out a little bit more about the basking shark.
Cutting edge science.
Cutting edge science. An oven scraper and some slime in there as well. Scientists will need hundreds more scouring pads before they can draw any conclusions. But I'm proud to be a pioneer slimer. We've tagged an animal, we've taken photographs from the surface, we've got a slime sample, and the next thing is to try and get the sex of the animal that we've taken the slime sample from. And the only way to do that is getting in the water and try and get a shot underneath, because the male has big claspers, pretty unmistakable.
You get a sense of scale there. You just see his snorkel and his head in the water, and the size even just of the fin. All we're seeing is the fin on the back of the shark. Absolutely incredible.
Unbelievable. I seriously thought he was going to eat me for just a brief second. I had to fin furiously to get out of the way. He came right at me. I'm sure he had a glint in his eye. Amazing, the vast cavern of the mouth. And those gill rakers almost encircle the entire head. The first thing you see is a big white cave coming towards you out of the gloom.
Just behind you, lads.
Oh, just right behind me.
Let's come back around for some more. I think it's getting used to being filmed, this shark.
It's all right,
Just there, lads.
That was moderately close.
Switch the top of your head.
Of course, the defence of these animals is their size. And I've just got a tiny glimpse there of the power, that tail. I always collected a slime sample on my head, you know? It's that big old tail, bam, and it moved a percussive wave of water. So, yeah, that was quite exciting. Watering on, very exciting. I'm like a sort of wasp at a picnic, as far as they're concerned. Just a little bit annoying, you know, better somewhere else. So leave the big fellas to get on with it. Let's say a couple more shots, and then we're away.
Here we go. Oh wow, look at the mouth. That's magic.
It's undeniably great fun. I'm not even going to pretend it isn't great fun and an amazing life-enhancing experience, but it's also important stuff, you know? If we can clearly identify the males and the females, the only way to do that is through photography in the water. Then again, a little bit more information about the basking shark. And it's great fun. Did I mention it was great fun? I think I probably did.
Next time, investigating the impact of an experimental wave energy project on whales and dolphins.
Off we go.
The world's scariest harbour entrance. And a magical encounter with inquisitive seals.